Most people think that a woman who lives alone must be lonely, broken, or waiting for someone to come and complete her. They are wrong. There is a truth hidden in silence, and only those who walk through it alone ever uncover it. In ancient Shaolin tradition, solitude is not something to escape from. It is something to enter with courage and clarity. This video is not just about women. It is about power, about self-mastery, about the sacred fire that awakens when the world becomes quiet. A woman who lives without a man is not weaker. She is often stronger than anyone knows. She is not abandoned. She is chosen by life to awaken alone. She walks into the cave of herself, and she does not come out the same. In the next few minutes, you will discover teachings that are rarely shared, insights drawn not from surface-level ideas, but from the depths of monastic wisdom, mindfulness practice, and lived stillness. You will learn why the path of a woman alone is not a story of luck, but of supreme presence. You will understand how silence can become a weapon sharper than noise, and why solitude, when chosen, becomes sacred ground where the soul is no longer distracted, only refined. Stay with me until the end. Every part of this journey will build on the last, and by the time we finish, you will never look at solitude the same way again. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. And if the truth matters to you more than comfort, subscribe. Some structures are built from stone. Others are built from silence, breath, and choice. A Shaolin monk enters the temple to train, but over time the temple enters the monk. His movements, his thoughts, his daily rituals all become expressions of the sacred. The same is true for a woman who walks alone with awareness. She no longer waits for safety, comfort, or love to arrive from outside. She cultivates it from within. Her body becomes her temple. Each morning she wakes without noise. She moves slowly, not because there is no urgency, but because nothing outside of her controls her pace. The way she cooks, the way she tidies her space, the way she walks through a quiet room, all of it becomes part of her training. There is no audience, no applause, but also no compromise. She does not need candles to make a moment holy. Her presence lights the space. Shaolin teaches that wherever your feet touch, that is your ground. Sacredness does not come from a place, but from a person. A woman who lives alone knows this. Her home is not empty, it is cleared. It does not echo with loneliness, it resonates with clarity. Even her pain becomes part of the altar. The nights she cried, the moments she doubted, these are not weaknesses to erase, but incense offered to the fire of transformation. She lives like a monk, but wears no robes. She practices devotion, but to no outer God. The sacred lives in her, because she chose to carry it rather than search for it. And in that choice, she becomes untouchable. True strength is quiet. In the Shaolin path, it is never the loudest, the fastest, or the strongest who endure. It is the one who moves in alignment, where the mind, the breath, and the body flow as one. Power emerges without effort. A woman who lives alone begins to understand this, not through books or theory, but through the quiet repetition of daily life. In the stillness of solitude, distractions fall away. There is no one to impress, no one to mirror, only herself and the mirror within. So she begins to listen, not to noise, but to rhythm, the breath rising and falling, the body speaking in aches and ease, the mind showing its patterns in thought and silence. She aligns through simple acts, the cup placed gently on the table, the breath taken before a decision, the pause between emotion and reaction. These are not empty habits, they are sacred rituals. Over time, she becomes unshakable because she no longer looks outward for balance. She holds it inside, through presence. This is inner mastery, not a performance, but a state. In ancient teachings, the one who controls herself controls the world, not because she dominates, but because she no longer depends. Her power is not borrowed, it is built. Each step she takes becomes precise, not rushed, not delayed. Her decisions carry weight. Her presence alters the space she enters, not by force, but by depth. While others chase validation, she calibrates to truth. And when alignment is real, the world begins to align around her, not because she demands it, but because she no longer needs to. In solitude, nothing stays hidden. Without the noise of companionship, distraction, or routine approval, the inner world rises like mist from a still lake. Emotions, long buried or ignored, begin to surface. Grief, fear, restlessness, longing. There is no one to blame, no one to soothe, no one to run to. This is not punishment, it is purification. In the Shaolin tradition, the monk in the cave does not go there to escape the world. He goes there to meet himself fully. In the same way, a woman who lives alone becomes her own mirror, and she does not look away. She sits with the ache that others numb. She breathes through the anxiety that once made her reach outward. She walks through sadness not as a victim, but as a student. This is emotional mastery, not the denial of feeling, but the discipline to face it without flinching. She learns that emotions are visitors, not rulers, that tears are not weakness, but a release, that anger, when examined, often masks pain, and that longing, when held with presence, can lead her home, not to another, but to herself. Every shadow she faces becomes a gate. Every gate she passes through leaves her clearer, quieter, and more grounded than before. This is the alchemy of solitude. Where others see a woman alone, she is actually becoming whole. Her strength is not that she feels less, but that she hides less. She carries her emotional storms with grace and learns to navigate them with awareness. In the end, what once overwhelmed her now obeys her. Because she no longer fights her shadows, she understands them. And in that understanding, they lose their power. Discipline is a quiet art. In Shaolin life, every day begins the same, not out of boredom, but devotion. The structure is not meant to limit, but to liberate. It removes distraction, sharpens focus, and transforms the ordinary into the sacred. A woman living alone, when she chooses to live with intention, follows the same path. Her day may not involve combat or high walls of stone, but it holds its own form of mastery. She wakes early. She makes her bed with care. She eats mindfully, not hurried. She carves out time for silence, even when the world pulls for noise. No one forces her. There is no audience to impress. This is why it matters. True discipline is born not from pressure, but from choice, from the understanding that without structure, the mind becomes scattered and the spirit forgets its path. So she creates her own rhythm. Maybe it is morning walks, evening reflection, reading instead of scrolling, time spent in nature, space kept clean, simple, uncluttered, like the inner world she is cultivating. Through this routine, she doesn't feel trapped, she feels free, because the energy once wasted on indecision is now used for clarity. The strength once spent on pleasing others is now used to center herself. In ancient teachings, freedom does not come from doing whatever you want. It comes from wanting only what serves your soul. By choosing her daily disciplines, she frees herself from chaos, comparison, and confusion. Life becomes lighter, not heavier. And within this steady repetition, something powerful happens. Her outer world starts to reflect her inner calm. Not perfect, but peaceful. Not rigid, but rooted. This is the quiet power of a life lived by design, not default. The world moves toward what is still. In the teachings of Shaolin, there is a principle both subtle and powerful. To control the outer, control the inner. The monk does not chase the wind. He becomes the mountain, and the wind finds him. A woman who lives alone and walks the path of awareness begins to embody this truth. She no longer pours her energy outward in pursuit. She no longer bends herself to be seen, heard, or wanted. Instead, she turns inward and refines her presence. She cultivates a deep stillness, not the absence of movement, but the presence of centered energy. She does not chase love. She becomes love in its most undemanding form. She does not chase noise. She protects her silence like sacred ground. She does not chase attention, because her presence, refined and rare, draws the right attention without effort. This is not passivity, it is mastery. In ancient practice, energy follows attention. She knows that when her attention is scattered, her power is weakened. So she gathers herself moment by moment, day by day, until her energy becomes whole again. This wholeness is magnetic. People feel it, though they may not know why. Her calm unsettles the anxious. Her clarity awakens the lost. Her quiet confidence speaks louder than words. She is not unreachable, but she is unshakable. She is not above others, but she no longer lowers herself to be understood. What belongs to her will come, not because she demands it, but because her energy makes space for only the true. And so she waits, not in idleness, but in grace. Still, steady, strong. She does not chase, she attracts. Silence reveals what noise hides. In Shaolin practice, Silence is not emptiness, it is training. It sharpens awareness, deepens presence, and reveals what the mind usually avoids. Through silence, the monk listens not with ears, but with his entire being. The same is true for a woman who lives alone and begins to welcome quiet as a teacher, not an absence. Without constant conversation, entertainment, or external opinion, something begins to shift. She starts to hear another voice, not from outside, but from within. It is not loud, but it is clear. This is intuition, the subtle guidance that speaks without sound, the inner knowing that is easily drowned in a crowded life, yet rises in solitude like a whisper across still water. She listens to this voice not just in meditation, but in daily life, in how her body responds when she walks into a room, in the small hesitation before saying yes, in the way her breath shortens when something is out of alignment. Through this quiet observation, she begins to know herself, not through thoughts, but through direct experience. Silence also transforms her responses. In the past, she may have reacted quickly to defend, to prove, to please. But now, with space around her thoughts, she responds with intention. Stillness teaches her that not every emotion needs expression, not every question needs an answer, and not every invitation deserves a yes. She no longer fears silence. She trusts it, because in it she finds truth that words cannot hold. She learns that the most powerful transformations often happen in moments where nothing is said, yet everything is heard. And in those moments, she no longer seeks the world to guide her. She carries the guide within. True strength is found in the open hand, not the clenched fist. In the teachings of ancient paths, especially within Shaolin, the practice of non-attachment is not about indifference, it is about freedom. The monk walks with only a bowl and a rope, not because he lacks, but because he trusts. He carries only what he needs, and he lets go of what weighs the spirit. A woman who lives alone and lives consciously begins to understand this deeply. She does not cling to what is uncertain. She does not grasp for a partner to complete her, because she has already met herself fully. She walks whole, not because she has everything, but because she no longer believes she lacks anything. Her life becomes lighter, not in burden, but in essence. She keeps what is meaningful, releases what is not. She no longer attaches her worth to attention, her joy to someone else's presence, or her peace to external outcomes. Non-attachment does not make her cold, it makes her clear. She can love without needing to possess. She can walk away without collapsing. She can stand alone without apology. This is not detachment from life, it is deeper connection to what truly matters. Shaolin teaches that the tighter you hold, the more you suffer. But when you let go, life flows. This woman lives by that wisdom. She allows life to come and go, and in doing so, she is never shaken. People, experiences, emotions, they pass through her life like seasons. She honors them, learns from them, and lets them go when the time comes. She does not fear loss, because her center is not built on what changes. It is built on what remains: presence, purpose, and peace. Love, when freed from fear, becomes something sacred. Living alone has not hardened her heart, it has softened it in a different way, not into fragility, but into depth. Without the noise of constant companionship, she has learned to sit with her own heart, to understand its waves, and to hold its silence. From this inner clarity, love begins to take on a new shape. She no longer needs to possess in order to feel secure. She does not bind others to promises or expectations. Her love is not built on demand, but on devotion. It arises from presence, not from fear of being left behind. Not from emptiness seeking to be filled, but from fullness offering itself freely. In ancient wisdom, true love is never about control. It is not a contract to be enforced, but a gift to be given. The Shaolin way speaks of giving without attachment to outcome. She lives this quietly. When she loves, she does so with open hands, not to hold someone tightly, but to support them as they walk beside her. Her solitude has taught her what many never learn: that love is not something to be earned or proven, it is something to be lived. She offers her care without asking for it to be returned in equal measure. She speaks kindness without measuring its effect. Her loyalty is silent, unwavering, and unattached. And because of this, her love becomes healing. It does not trap, it liberates. It does not seek to fix, it accepts. Those who receive it often feel something rare: the absence of pressure, the presence of peace. She has no need to control what is not hers. Even love. Because she knows the love that is real never needs to be held tightly. It stays because it is free. Loneliness at first feels like an emptiness, a hunger for company, a longing for noise, a reaching out in the dark. But in the Shaolin tradition, it is said, loneliness is the beginning of learning, because in that silence, when all distractions fall away, the true journey begins, the journey inward. She knows this path well. In the early days, her solitude felt like exile. The absence of voices, of shared routines, of warmth beside her, it echoed in the quiet spaces. But instead of running from it, she remained. She sat with the ache, breathed with it, allowed it to speak. And over time, something subtle began to shift. The ache softened. The silence became soothing. The space that once felt hollow grew rich with presence. Her loneliness transformed into aloneness. This is not isolation, it is integration. She is not filled with longing, she is filled with awareness. The same silence that once brought sorrow now brings clarity. She notices more, feels more, lives more deeply in each moment because nothing is rushing her forward or pulling her back. Aloneness becomes her teacher. In ancient disciplines, the master trains away from the village, in the mountains, in the forests, in stillness, not because life in the world is unworthy, but because to know the world, one must first know oneself. She has come to understand this. Her path is not separate from others, it is simply deeper. Now she walks alone, but not lonely. There is a difference, a sacred one. She no longer fears being by herself, because she has met herself fully. In the mirror of solitude, she found not emptiness, but essence. And from that essence, she walks forward, quiet, whole, complete. The story you've just heard is not about distance from others. It is about deep return to self. In a world that often confuses solitude with sadness and independence with isolation, this is a quiet reminder wholeness does not require another to complete it. It requires presence, discipline, and truth. Like the Shaolin way, this path is not loud. It is steady, intentional, rooted in mastery, not over others, but within. Whether you live alone or not, the invitation is the same, to build a life from the inside out, to trust silence, to align with what is real, to walk your path, not because it is easy, but because it is yours. Thank you for walking with us today. If this message brought clarity to your journey, we invite you to support ours, like this video and subscribe to our channel, Shaolin Soulfire, where ancient wisdom meets the modern soul. Until next time, walk gently and walk true.